and the witch.
What's up, vault dwellers? Am I spellbound weirdos? Why don't you go grab some broomsticks and sharpen your sacrificial daggers? Because today, we're going to be summoning something a little special. Welcome to 13 Wicked Witch B-movies, a devilishly good countdown of cinematic spell slingers, hex hurlers, and broom-riding bombshells who burn their way through horror history. Witches have been a staple of cinema since the silent era, but in B-movies, they really came into their own. From cursed virgins to blood-soaked pagan queens, witches in these flicks got a very bad rap. Usually accused of everything from nudity to necromancy, and sometimes both in the same scene. But here on Retro Vault, we know the truth. Everybody loves a sexy witch, especially when she's got bad intentions and a worse taste in men. So whether you're Team Midnight Orgy or Foggy Graveyard Seance, buckle up, because we're about to fly straight into 13 delightfully low-budget encounters with the occult. Let the cackling begin.
Do you accept the Master for all eternity?
I accept the Master for all eternity.
All right, let's get started with a mossy bog in Louisiana, where we've got the Witchmaker, which follows a parapsychologist who brings a group of psychic students into the bayou to study a series of ritualistic murders. Spoiler alert, they're about to meet a warlock and his coven of witches, and none of them are too happy to have their turf disturbed. What follows is a psychedelic blend of voodoo, astral projection, and midnight bloodletting. Each witch in the coven represents a different magical archetype. We got necromancer, clairvoyant, and seductress. And the big bad? That's Luther the Berserk, a cackling warlock who looks like he wandered off the set of a biker film into a satanic ritual. This it's cheap, it's campy, and weirdly atmospheric. This one's a slow burn that delivers in sheer witchy vibes. You know, it plays like a southern fried Hammer horror, just with all the nudity, fog machines, and stilted acting you could ever want. It's not well known, but if you want a pure, undiluted witch aesthetic, The Witchmaker is a hidden spellbook.
The blood of a maiden drawn by steel.
Tell me, please.
Yes, child, tell us.
If I tell you, will you kill her?
Yes, I'll kill her. Where is she?
She's in the cave above the lake.
Go now and find her. Destroy the witch.
Before he made Witchfinder General, Michael Reeves directed this oddball creature feature that mixes Gothic horror with slapstick mayhem. The she-beast kicks off in the 18th century with a witch being executed by water and promising vengeance from beyond the grave, of course. Fast forward to the 1960s, where a honeymooning couple accidentally resurrects her, somehow, and she takes possession of the wife's body. What follows is a blend of like Boris Karloff-style horror and Benny Hill-level chaos. Barbara Steele plays the possessed woman, and while she's only in the film briefly, her eyes do most of the heavy lifting. The resurrected witch is a hideous hag who rampages through the countryside like a zombie with a score to settle. Despite the low budget and tonal whiplash, there is something undeniably fun about the she-beast. It's part creature feature, part witch revenge flick with just a dash of British absurdity. You may not be scared, but you're gonna be entertained and mildly confused, which is just part of the charm.
But I, Vardella, will return! Vardella will return!
I know you're looking for some way to destroy me. Are you progressing with the investigations?
Well, to destroy you, actually, my lady, no. I only pretend to return you to your origin in the legend.
You may know Desario from his Blind Date series, but if not, The Loreley's grasp is his stab at the aquatic witch mythology. This is based on the German legend of the Loreley Siren. The film reimagines her as a shape-shifting, heart-eating monster who lures victims to their doom along the Rhine. What we get is a mix of folklore, some Gothic romance, and Euro horror sleaze. The Loreley herself is equal parts seductress and supernatural beast, transforming into a scaly creature when provoked. The kills are surprisingly gruesome, and the atmosphere is soaked in fog and moonlight. It's like a German fairy tale that took a wrong turn into a Paul Naschy movie. While not a traditional broom-riding spellcaster, the Loreley ticks all the boxes. We've got your curses, you got immortality, a few ritual sacrifices, and with her glowing eyes and blood-stained veil, she definitely earns a spot in the Witchy Hall of Fame.
Open the door! For God's sake! Witch!
All right, in a fog-drenched New England town, we have a coven of witches that are actually hiding in plain sight. And Christopher Lee, he's delivering his lines like he's narrating a cursed audiobook. Welcome to the City of the Dead, a film that's basically the blueprint for every sleepy town has a secret witch cult movie that ever followed. We have a college student who travels to Whitewood, Massachusetts to research witchcraft and ends up dead. Her sister arrives looking for answers and uncovers a centuries-old coven still offering sacrifices to just Lucifer himself. Despite being a UK production, the film nails the bleak Puritan vibe and American Gothic aesthetics. Every street looks like it was built by fog machines and regret. It's low on gore, but high on atmosphere. The black and white photography makes the fog glow, and the pacing, it's tight and suspenseful. Think Psycho with witches instead of shower curtains.
Curse it for all eternity, and let me be the instrument of thy curse. Hear me, O Lucifer. Hear me.
Worthy to bear your name. Therefore, I offer you her blood.
This one's got just all the Gothic trappings you could ever wish for. You got your secret cults, a little psychedelic dream sequence, and horror royalty like Boris Karloff and Christopher Lee just chewing scenery like it's a midnight snack. Curse of the Crimson Altar, which is also known as the Crimson Cult, follows an antique dealer searching for his missing brother at a spooky countryside mansion. Surprise, he finds a coven of witches instead. Barbara Steele steals the show as Lavina, a centuries-dead witch who returns in dreamlike visions to mark victims for ritual sacrifice. Draped in black feathers and painted head to toe in witchy green, she's just the very image of mid-century satanic glam. The film itself is a strange mix of hammer horror fog and late 60s counterculture trippiness, with just a dash of leather-gloved occult pageantry. It's light on actual scares, but heavy on the mood. And that mood, it's pure murder at the Victorian rave. Plus, it's one of Karloff's last films. So if you love watching old school legends wade through devilish monologues and smoke machines, this one's absolutely essential.
It is a Banshee.
Banshee?
The great Vincent Price returns in this grisly bit of period horror as Lord Edward Whitman, a cruel magistrate who delights in hunting and torturing witches. Naturally, he makes the classic horror movie mistake. He angers a real coven led by a sorceress named Una. It's a bad idea, Eddie. Una summons a demonic spirit in the form of a human servant who infiltrates Whitman's home and begins picking off his family one by one. There's plenty of sex, some violence, and period costume debauchery, plus a killer animated title sequence from Monty Python's Terry Gilliam. It's like someone dared Hammer Films to get weirder and a bit more brutal, and they handed it off to the AIP instead. Though technically a Banshee film, Una and her coven are fully qualified witches. They do curses, they got some rituals, and vengeance is the best possible way for them. Also, Vincent Price in judge's robes threatening to hang everyone? Peak witch hunt cinema.
I conjure you, Lord Satan, send me an avenger!
All right, what do you want?
The truth.
I told you, they're souvenirs.
The truth.
All right. I was trying to use conjure magic, trying to work spells, trying to change the future. That's what you really want to hear, isn't it, Norman?
That's exactly what I don't want to hear.
Here's one for the skeptical horror fans. A British professor of psychology who openly mocks the supernatural discovers that his wife has secretly been practicing witchcraft to protect him. When he demands she stop, just all hell breaks loose, literally. Accidents, curses, and escalating dread follow in what turns out to be one of the most underrated witch flicks of the era. Based on a novel, Conjure Wife, this is less about broomsticks and more about the hidden world of domestic occultism. The tension builds gradually, and the scares are just psychological, with shadows moving just out of frame and paranoia tightening its grip. It's classy, creepy, and surprisingly modern in its depiction of magical realism and a bit of gaslighting. Burn, Witch, Burn proves you don't need a cauldron to make a killer witch movie. Just a well-lit shadow and some extremely cursed houseware. All right, let's go a little art house for a minute. Dreyer's Day of Wrath. It's not a typical B-movie, but it's essential witch cinema. This was set in 17th century Denmark, and it follows the young wife of a pastor who falls for her stepson, while a town descends into witch trial hysteria. It's a bit slow, stark, but very devastating. This is the kind of movie where every candle flicker feels like a threat. It's shot in haunting black and white with oppressive silence and moral tension simmering under the surface. The witches here, they aren't green-faced hags. They're just women caught in a system designed to destroy them. It's like feminist horror before the term even existed. There's a lot less camp, but more crucible. If you want your witchcraft tragic, poetic, and disturbingly real, this should be your pick. It's like Bergman's The Virgin Spring met the Crucible, got excommunicated, and then was lit on fire.
Una fiamma. Il bicchiere.
Italian Gothic at its most delightfully trashy. Night of the Damned is a haunted house mystery with witches, some curses, and one of the goofiest forbidden books this side of a Scooby-Doo episode. A journalist is invited to a castle where people keep dying mysteriously. Turns out, the family is cursed by a coven of witches, and they're just not too thrilled about being forgotten. It's all velvet capes and candlelight orgies. The logic, it's non-existent. The dubbing is hilarious, and the witchcraft is just wonderfully old school. The movie has every trope: ancestral guilt, cryptic maids, mysterious paintings, and of course, there's a secret passage that leads to doom. Is it good? It's debatable. Is it fun? Absolutely. If you want Eurotrash atmosphere with actual cult trimmings, this one's like getting hexed by your high school theater club. All right, this one might be a stretch as a witch video, but hear me out. In the Manitou, Susan Strasberg discovers this tumor on her neck that turns out to be a reincarnating spirit of a 400-year-old Native American shaman. Cue Tony Curtis, some psychic battles, laser beams, and a floating hospital room in space. While it's technically more about shaman magic than European witchcraft, the Manitou still delivers like the occult goods with curses, seances, and some interdimensional chaos. It's got exorcisms, some astral planes, and a showdown between ancient mysticism and hospital technology. It's bonkers and just totally unforgettable. If you're broadening your witchcraft definition to include magical resurrection and ancient curses, this is like high camp entry that scratches that witchy itch with maximum chaos.
But men call us by a single name, a name which strikes fear into everyone's heart. They call us Death! Death!
Argento's surreal, neon-lit fever dream is technically the second part of his Three Mothers trilogy, between Suspiria and The Mother of Tears. And it's the most atmospheric witch movie you've never been hypnotized by. A New York woman discovers her building might house one of the Three Mothers, immortal, world-corrupting witches. The plot? Don't even expect one. Instead, you're going to get some eerie music, some impossible architecture, underwater libraries, and one of the most disorienting death scenes in Italian horror. Argento paints with blood and shadow. The witches in Inferno, they don't ride brooms, they melt reality. It didn't get the same acclaim as Suspiria, but for witchy surrealism, it's a dream and a nightmare, just all at once.
It's I who repudiate you, and in the name of Satan I place a curse upon you. Go ahead, tie me down to the stake, but you will never escape my hunger nor that of Satan.
All right, now we're talking legend status. Black Sunday is Mario Bava's Gothic masterpiece about a witch who's burned at the stake, Barbara Steele, probably in her most iconic role, who vows revenge on her descendants, and 200 years later, she comes back, and she is not in the mood for forgiveness. This movie is pure atmosphere. You got cobwebs, lighting, and crypts, and Barbara Steele's wide eyes just framed by candlelight. The black and white cinematography, it's absolutely stunning, and the score is pure haunted elegance. If this isn't on your Halloween watch list already, you need to fix that. Steele plays dual roles, victim and villain, and gives one of the most powerful witch performances in cinema history. It's elegant, eerie, and deeply influential.
Rise, Yavutage, rise.
Accuse me, a priest, of working with the devil.
We can only judge by the evidence.
And there's a lot of that, old man. I reject your accusations totally. He's gonna give us trouble.
A simple confession, priest, that's all we ask.
Help us. We've got a lot of work to do in Brandiston.
Here it is, the mother of all witch hunt horror. Witchfinder General is based loosely on the real-life witch hunter Matthew Hopkins, played with venomous glee by Vincent Price. But don't expect magic and spells in this one. This is about accusation of witchcraft and the societal rot that follows. This was set during the English Civil War, and the film follows Hopkins and his assistant as they torture confessions from innocent women, all for profit and power. It's grim, unrelenting, and still feels shockingly relevant. Director Michael Reeves brought a raw realism to the violence, and Price gives one of his darkest performances ever. This isn't a fun witch flick. It's a punch to the gut. And it's a reminder that the most dangerous thing about witches, it wasn't their power. It was the fear they inspired in men who had all the control.
The money from the magistrate. 9 guineas in silver.
Good. Now we can leave.
From misunderstood mystics to full-blown broom-wielding chaos queens, witches in cinema, they've evolved from shrieking villains to feminist icons. And sure, They still get burned now and then, but they always come back. But before you go, check out our deep dive on other creepy characters and occult horror showdowns. Why don't you go hit that like button like a ceremonial dagger? And don't forget to subscribe, or we're going to send Barbara Steele to haunt your dreams. And by the way, keep it weird, folks.